15% off the already great price. BuyRaycon.com/Herd. Stylish, too. You can run around, sweating them, doesn't matter. Everything's great. Noise isolating fit. So Bill Belichick spent 2-3 minutes yesterday talking about Russell Wilson. I've said this for years. Steve Young and Russell Wilson were great, but there were circumstances around them that people didn't acknowledge it. Joe Montana, Bill Walsh, that's all we talked about, and Jerry Rice. And so by the time Steve Young got there, he had no chance. He was unbelievable. But Walsh is a genius. You'll never be Joe Montana. Russell Wilson walks in with a very popular coach, Pete Carroll, Marshawn Lynch. The defense had a Legion of Boom. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, Russell Wilson. By year 2, it was Russell's team. He was the reason they were winning. Pete Carroll had been fired twice in the NFL, 14-18 in Seattle. Russell, he had defense. He had Marshawn. Russell changed everything. And so Belichick has faced him 3 times. Twice, Russell Wilson has beat the coach in the NFL, Bill Belichick, who humiliates young quarterbacks. Russell has owned Belichick. Should have beaten him a 3rd time. If not for one pass, he'd be 3-0 against him. That's the Malcolm Butler pick. So, Belichick doesn't talk about anybody. Yesterday, on and on and on and on about Russell Wilson, who Bill faces this week.
This guy's a tremendous player. Honestly, I think he's, in a way maybe underrated by the media or the fans. I don't know. But, I don't really see anybody better than this player. He can do everything. He's got, obviously, great leadership, playmaking skills. He plays very well in the most critical situations in the game, with his decision-making, running, passing. His passing numbers are extraordinary. You put him up against anybody since he's been in the league, literally anybody.
Yeah, and there's 2 geniuses now, Belichick and me. It'd be nice to get a little support over here on him. He was great in week 1, by the way, 31-35. Russell Wilson was unbelievable. And, I was saying the other day, I said this Monday, is I really believe there's just really, to me, let's just talk good quarterbacks. I'm not going to waste time talking about Kirk Cousins. I'm talking about the really good quarterbacks in the league. To me, there's just 2 tiers of them. There's the oh my God tier. There's 3 guys. Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. They do stuff you can't prepare for. They're absurdly dynamic. It doesn't matter what your game plan is. And they're all, this is key, they're all getting better. They're all getting better. The next group is what I would call special. They've carried teams. They can still carry them. They're unbelievable. They're going to be Hall of Famers. But there's an age issue, a durability issue, maybe a little bit of an attitude issue, too many bad halves. Deshaun Watson's not quite, I think, a little too inconsistent. And that would be my special group, and that is Aaron Rodgers would be the first one in it. Breeze, Brady, Ben, Deshaun, and Carson Wentz. Everybody else in the league, if I'm a general manager and you call me up, I'd take the call. I like Garoppolo, but I'd take the phone call. They took the phone call. They were going to get Tom Brady for him. Everybody else in this league, even guys that are pretty good, right? Like we think Jimmy Garoppolo is pretty good. Some of you do, some of you don't. I take a phone call. I'm not taking phone calls on those guys. I take a phone call. The only other player, in fact, and I need about a half dozen more games. That's it. I need about 6 more football games. The only other guy that I think is in that, and very soon, is Kyler Murray. He's doing it, and here's what's impressive about him. They're not babysitting him. They've given him the playbook. Carry us. 40 throws, go. They've given him, it's the Andrew Luck thing. We're not real good. Carry us. Teams will tell you what if they really respect you. Like the New York Giants got Eli Manning. Good luck. Here's the playbook. The Colts got Andrew Luck. Good luck. Arizona, Kyler Murray. Here it is. Save us. When Big Ben came into the league, the Steelers did some babysitting for 2 years. He didn't throw. Phillip Rivers came in the league. His organization didn't let him throw. And those guys are going to get, Big Ben's great. But when Big Ben came in the league, the Steelers are like, why don't you we'll run the football a lot. We'll play defense. Kyler Murray, and again, I'm one of 8 people in America that watches all Arizona Cardinal games, there are things he does that are just, there's nothing you can do. And he's not close yet to what he's going to be. My guess is And Mahomes said this last year. Mahomes is like, I just figured out how to read a defense. Russell Wilson told me one time, he's like, year 3, midway through it, I'm like, oh, light goes on. And Russell's got, pretty sharp dude, right? Like, it does take time to see every coverage like 3 times. So you can just identify stuff. To me, Kyler Murray is the next guy to get into that group. He is really something, man. Right now, Geico, 15% off. Car, truck, motorcycle, RVs, don't have one of those, but 15% off all their policies right now. If you go to geico.com, sign up by October 7th. It is called Our Meat Sandwich. It's Greg Cosell. It's hour 2 every 30. Saquon Barkley thing is you played in the NFL for a long time. My argument is some guys just, Adrian Peterson could never catch and didn't like to block. It's natural for Zeke. He just likes to do it. Marshawn Lynch. Some guys will put the helmet in the chest. Is the criticism by Tiki at least reasonable in your opinion?
Absolutely. And I was listening to you and Joy talk about it. You talk about somebody you can trust with their opinion, somebody who, watches a ton of New York Giants football and has watched it closely and has been in that spot. He absolutely recognizes it. And I do think I agree with Tiki. I think that Saquon Barkley has to not be timid when you have to go square to square with a blitzing linebacker or a defense. Sometimes you slide protections. You're on the other side. You got to take a defensive end. And it doesn't always have to be you have to be the bigger, stronger guy. You just have to slow them down. Like, it's not like you asking them to hold them out for 3 seconds. Just, you've got to get better there. And that is clearly a weakness that has cropped up in Saquon Barkley, who's by all accounts an exceptional. But we always talk about quarterbacks from the perception of, hey, defensive coordinators are going to adjust to what you do. Can Lamar Jackson keep running around? Well, defensive coordinators are going to adjust. They're adjusting to Saquon Barkley, and they're recognizing this, and they're exploiting that, which becomes a much bigger problem when he's on the field and you try to implement pass schemes where he's going to be asked to pass protect.
All right, Cleveland, Cincinnati tonight's actually fascinating for a lot of reasons. Let's start with Joe Burrow. You've helped coach. You watch young quarterbacks. Your grade for Joe Burrow week 1. What did you like? What did you not like?
Solid. I thought it was a solid B-, especially if you consider first start, first NFL experience, no offseason, no preseason, Zoom meetings, trying to learn an entire offense like that. And Colin, for me, with a lot of times what I like to do early in a quarterback's career is watch it from the TV copy. What he looks like. Let me look at his eyes. When you watch the coaches tape and the All-22, you can't really get a sense for if a quarterback is jittery or is he nervous. But you watch the game copy, you can see what a quarterback is feeling. And I felt like Joe Burrow looked like he did at LSU. Completely cool. Joe Cool, right? I thought he looked calm, composed, knew where to go with the football. I thought he showcased some of the skill set that he showed off when he was in Baton Rouge. Extremely accurate with the football, made good decisions. You saw some of his athleticism with the rushing he had. So overall, I thought it was a solid start for Joe Burrow. And I think this is only the beginning. I mean, I was bullish on him coming out, had no problem with the number 1 overall pick. So I think it was exactly what you wanted to see if you're a Bengals fan. The only thing that came up short was the win. And, we saw the way that game ended, didn't get to overtime, didn't have that opportunity, but he had his team in a position to win a game, which is something they haven't had in recent years in Cincinnati.
Now, nobody thinks Baker Mayfield, if he plays poorly tonight, is going to lose his job to Case Keenum. But I will say this. There's an old saying in our business, radio and television. Your bosses and your networks have moved off you about a year before they tell you. Okay? And my thing is, if Burrow looks with less talent around him, if Burrow looks better than Baker tonight, more under control, more calm, even if he loses, but you come away and go, God, Burrow in game 2 really looks like the guy. And Baker may win because he's got far more talent, but it's a Baker game. He unravels a little. Do you think it is possible that the new GM and the new coach come to a realization, this wasn't our guy, and in our division, he's the 4th best guy, and we got to start thinking about the future?
So, Colin, I wonder if his coach and GM already wonder if he's their guy. Like, I think there's already a crisis of confidence in Baker Mayfield as their quarterback, and they want to see him prove it. And it did not get off to a great start. We all recognize 7 straight games he's throwing an interception. And this is a game on the national stage where impressions are made. I mean, look at Kirk Cousins, the reputation he has in trying to shake that, games in prime time, games against winning opponents. Well, this is a game that you probably should win if you're Baker Mayfield. Ultimately, does it impact him long-term? No, it's not like the decision has to be made. It's only week 2. But I think from public perception, criticism, something he has not handled well, I do think he needs to go out there with a solid performance. Now, the Browns, I'd like to see them actually run Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb more, take some of that pressure off. Against the Ravens, they were down 24-6 at halftime, so they kind of had to air it out. That's a tough spot to be in. I think we do have to give Baker Mayfield a pass as he's learning yet another offense in a shortened, condensed offseason. But ultimately, yeah, I do think he has to at least look the part. Like kind of like I was talking about Joe Burrow. What do you look like? Do you look comfortable? Do you look confident? I want to see that because I don't see on the field when it matters, I don't see that Baker Mayfield has that confidence, that swagger that we loved about him at Oklahoma, loved about him in his rookie year. I haven't seen that in a while. So I want to see him get back to that. And the accurate passer. I mentioned Joe Burrow being accurate. Baker Mayfield has lost that accuracy that he had when the protection breaks down. So I think it is a big game for him on a national stage that, yes, will create, a perception of him, whether you like it or not, that will matter moving forward.
So Bruce Arians calls out Brady. How'd it land for you?
Maybe make him feel right at home, right? That's what he's